Hello, friends! Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to Morning Tea with CJ, where we'll just be hanging out. You can ask questions, I can provide answers. It'll be a good time. I am very late. I was having tons of technical difficulties. For some reason, the YouTube API was returning streams from yesterday, like it wasn't just returning the latest streams. And so my chat manager wasn't working, and I was getting duplicate messages. It was a thing. But hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. So if you visit qna.coding.garden, you can ask a question. People can vote on those questions, and I will try to answer them. There have been a lot of questions that I haven't been able to answer, and I've pretty much lost those. So if you've asked a question in the chat and you want to get that question answered, go to qna.coding.garden and ask the question there, because those questions are persistent and I'll be able to answer them. All right, let's say hello to everyone, and then I need to go turn my air conditioner off because that's one thing I forgot to do. But hello, Scientin, welcome to the stream. Hello, Boyan. So there was, yeah, that's the other thing. It's just a very messy morning. Let's do the Discord announcement. I did do the announcement on Twitter, but I did it like 15 minutes ago because I thought I was gonna stream like right now. Yeah, see, now yeah, ugh, okay, I just need to take a deep breath. And then we'll get going. There we go. There's the Discord announcement. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Abdelhamid. Welcome to the stream. And now this isn't working? What's going on here? Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Yeah. Lots of issues. Lots and lots of issues. Oh. Gosh darn it. All right. Here's what I gotta do. I have to drop my database. I'm sorry that it has come to this, but I need to drop my database. And then if you said, I'm gonna lose all of my Twitch messages. So if you said hello on Twitch, I'm gonna need you to say hello again. Apologies. Apologies. Everything's going wrong. I gotta drop it. I have to drop the data. There's like a weird issue where the event gets inserted twice, and then there's duplicate messages. It has to happen, and I'm sorry. Cool. And then, yeah. And then we'll remove, scoop it. We'll remove this event ID. Hello, Christopher. Yeah, welcome to Twitch. Drop it like it's hot. There we go. We'll refresh that. We will refresh this. No! Okay, we're gonna drop all events. Right, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I set to stream like literally 30 minutes ago, and I'm having all of these issues. Okay, wow. all of the events are gone. No! Oh no, so I dropped, okay. It's fun. Watching me struggle, right? That's fun. There we go. There we go. There's my patrons. Look at all those jobs on the screen. Oh, that's hilarious. But this should fix the issue. And it doesn't. Well. Let's try to say hello to everyone. Hopefully this works. Hello, Scientin. Hello, Boyan. Thanks for the reminder. Live bug testing. Yeah, oh my goodness. Okay, so this so this button isn't gonna work anymore. All right, we'll get this going though. I'm just gonna scroll, and then from here on out, I just have to use the right-hand side chat manager. I'm sorry if I missed your message. Like I said, if you go to qa.codingandgarden and you ask a question, that question will be saved there, and we'll get to it when we can. So let's keep on going. Hello, Valter, welcome to the stream. Hello, Gideon, welcome. Hello, Ben. Hello, Majestic Eye. Hello, Scientin. Wait. Yeah, see, those messages are duplicates somehow. So weird. Yes, and I'm streaming apparently in a good time for people that are watching in Europe, so that's good. Hello, ATD. Hello, Josh. Hello, Sean. Hello, Ed. You can see all these duplicate messages. Hello, Nerthin. Welcome to the stream. That is me getting rickrolled last night. Majestic Eye did a very good rickroll. It was like a classic bait and switch. Hello, Kamalesh. Welcome to the stream. Oh man, all the messages over and over again. Yeah, you see, but the thing is, they're not duplicated over here. Well, and thanks for the follow, Lonely Arlequin. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it happened right when the stream starts. Hello, Kamalesh. Cedric with the super chat donation, who says, "I believe in you. You can do it, bro." Thank you, Cedric. we've got it mostly done. Good morning, Carolinda. Again, I think we're good. I think from these messages on down and below, we're good. Yeah, at least it's not in the middle of the stream. It's at the beginning, right? That's great. When it rains, it pours. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, and then they're all the YouTube comments again. Hello, Harsh. Hello, Carolinda. Hello, Joe Mama. Hello, Jim. Hello, Sergi. Welcome, everyone. I think I will at least be able to keep track of follow. There we go. I should be able to keep track of follows. The button takes too long to load on the Q&A. Maybe I'm just being hacked. Like, maybe I'm just Hello, Enkit. From you can see how much I earned from patrons if that's what you're asking. Okay, everything went wrong. That's what happened. Let's see if I missed any over here. Basically, the left-hand side chat manager is just broke. It's not gonna work. Yeah, all those drops happened at once. Hello, Warhawk. Hello, Mishka. Hello, GamerCat Neko. Welcome back. I'm doing pretty good. I actually got a good night's sleep, but then all the technical difficulties decided to happen. Hello, Christopher. So every stream, the leaderboard here resets, but you can drop every 30 seconds. But it's a new leaderboard every stream. And currently, Gideon's at the top with an 88.27. Great drops, everyone. Hello, Noel. Yeah, I basically my stream is like super meta because I'm always just working on tools to manage the stream, and I haven't like built actual apps in a while. I don't know. Hello, Stazik. Welcome. This is fine. This is fine. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Gene. Yes. Just breathe. Breathe. I think we're good from here. Good evening, Julian. What's up? Hello, Mattia. It's been a while. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, so if you saw it said 71 events. It's probably half of that because they're a bug where like events gets created twice. But that's 35 live streams where I had all of the messages saved. So that would have been good to keep. I don't know. Hello, Augustus. Yeah, I called them wallflowers, but I needed a name. So the reason that the Patreon tier is called a wallflower is because I needed a new name, honestly. But this is almost equivalent to like a Twitch subscription because I don't have Twitch affiliate enabled or anything like that. And for a regular Twitch subscription that's $4.99, the streamer usually gets half of that. So if you're on Twitch and you want to support me, the wallflower is probably the way to go. But that's a great point. Now it's confusing because people could think that those are patrons, and they're not, because on the Q&A, wallflower means you're anonymous. we'll fix that. Hello, Warhawk. And thanks again for the super chat, Cedric. Much appreciated. Yeah. Yep, I got rickrolled. Hello, Miku. Yep, all the Europe peoples can tune in. Hello, El Caprice from Poland. Welcome. Hello, El Trendo. Not much. Let's see. Is the Q&A site working for everyone? Do 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 do. I think the Q&A site is broken. When it rains, it pours. There we go. Okay, so that worked. Let me know if the Q&A site is broken for anyone else, because that would not be good. Yeah. Hello, Sarav. Hello, Ankit. Oh yeah, but if you look at Patreon, you can see how much I get from Patreon. $146. There were 4 new patrons last night. Thank you so much. So I make $146 a month from Patreon, plus all of the super chats and donations that you see on stream. Maybe I'm just being hacked. Yeah. Those are duplicate. It's not the right hand side is great. We built this one second. So when we built this one, we had learned a lot from the previous one, but we never updated the previous one. Activating Dropbot. There you go, Majestic Eye. Miko is asking if I can review their app. Add it on Q&A. If you add a question here, because that way people can vote on it, and if it gets enough votes, I will review it. Hello, Alex. I am from, and I live in Denver, Colorado. Hello, Mark, who's asking, maybe you can tell us a little bit about micro front-end architectures, mixing Vue, React, Vanilla, Angular based on web components. I've never actually done anything like that. It would be fun to explore. But yeah, I've never actually done anything like that. Hello, Cheyenne. And thanks for the follow, not Cree. Hello, Nexter. Alka, what's up? Is it GDPR compliant to store such data? I don't know. Is someone going to sue me? So on the Q&A website, I am storing your name and your email. That's it. All of that data, like the chat data, was stored in a local database. That's not in the cloud anymore. Anywhere. I don't know. Am I the only one that cannot scrape the YouTube chat input to automate the drop each 30 seconds? So YouTube is weird. Like I actually haven't implemented sending messages programmatically with the YouTube API because it's so convoluted. It's possible, but it's pretty convoluted. It's not as easy as Twitch, which is just using IRC. Yeah. Drop in emotes. Protractor, is that the thing that you test Angular with? Yeah, I've used it a long time ago, not recently though. Hello, Lul. Hello, Kayala Razan. Oh, welcome. I have no idea, Doc. I really don't know if it does that. Drop it like it's hot. Everything's going wrong. Okay, so Pranjal cannot log into Q&A. Anyone else? Why are we all typing drop? It's the things that you see flying on the screen. So if you type drop, your name will appear on the thing and be dropped. Yeah. The stream has stopped? What? Hello, Jorge. And Jorge's at the top of the leaderboard, 96.98 or 88. Great job. Okay, that's unfortunate. Okay, so I see people voting. So people have logged in. Okay, here's the trick. If you try to log in and you see like an access token in the URL, try just going directly to the Q&A website and see if it works. Hopefully the timeout will stop happening. Hello, Ronnie. Also, the developer agreement on Twitch. For in terms of what data you will store? I don't know. Tractor. Vue.js versus Mithril. I would choose Vue. Mithril is Mithril is almost like the React create element function without the JSX. If you haven't seen Mithril before, it's super interesting. It's very minimal. But if you see like how to create elements, yeah. So you have a im function, which is kind of like your create element function, and it's not exactly like React.create element, but it's sort of works in a similar way in that you're creating like a DOM tree. So yeah, I like the fact that Vue.js allows you to use like just regular plain old HTML. Yeah. Yeah, put all of the questions here because they stay here, and if I can't answer them today, I can try to answer them in a future stream. Okay, take a chance. The Q&A site is working. Did the stream stop for anyone else? Let me know. Yeah, I'll let you know, Majestic Eye, and I might, if I do any coding, I might disable the drop overlay. But yeah. Nah, we out here. The Mithrodox US ES5. Yeah. Okay, it's working. Stream is fine on Twitch. Anyone on YouTube? I mean, apparently there's no YouTube messages. So. I mean, I have a YouTube preview working. Yeah. All right. Maybe certain users are just having issues. Okay, so let's talk about how the drop game works. If you type !drop and that's it, you're gonna see these things, which are seedlings. Look at that. And if a seedling lands on the garden right here, you will grow a beautiful seedling. Or sorry, if the seed lands on there, you'll grow a beautiful seedling, and your name will be on the leaderboard. If it lands smack dab in the center, right there, you get 100, and you're at the top of the leaderboard. If you do drop me, that's going to drop your user avatar. So you see, there I am. Here I come. Wait, right here. Woo. And so it drops your avatar. You can also drop an emote. It's fine. Okay, cool. YouTube's fine. So you can do emoji. So if you drop and then choose some emoji, like a cactus, that will drop that thingy. And on Twitch, you can also drop emotes. And you're only allowed to drop every 30 seconds. So after you drop, you have to wait 30 seconds, and then you'll be able to drop again. There's so many drops happening. So has it been 30 seconds? We'll see. And if it has, you should see yeah, there's Coding Garden dropping the cactus. Wonderful, wonderful. Cool. So YouTube is fine. That's good. Mobile is apparently okay. Twitch is okay. All right. Awesome. So, let me see really quick. Okay. I am going to go turn my air conditioner off, but in the meantime, there's going to be a short break where we will acknowledge all of the current patrons because I could not do it without all the patrons. So here they are. Oh, well, let's do this. Here they are. Here's all the patrons, and I will be right back. So thank you to all of the wonderful patrons for supporting the Coding Garden. And if you'd like to support me, you can visit coding.garden/support or visit patreon.com/codinggarden with CJ, and you can support me. And you can also support me through one-time donations or super chats, and I much appreciate those. Shout out to Cedric for the $5 super chat this morning. All right. Yeah, I only have regular Twitch emotes right now. We could do that in the future. But yeah. Cedric says everyone should donate so I can fix the issues. That's funny. Hello, Jacochi. Welcome to the stream. Can we get a tattoo of your face? Yeah, go for it. I mean, you could even do something like this. That little guy. And if you type, what's the command? It's in the chat, I think. Oh yeah, it's CJ-pixel. There's that. You could get that tattooed. That would be a cool tattoo, I guess. Yeah, super chat and Streamlabs donations. Thank you, Infi. Snipe the pineapple game? What's that? Is that a thing? Oh, with the that's true. What is Snipe the pineapple? Yeah, I'm about to jump into the Q&A. Super pineapple pin? Pineapple sniper? I'm not gonna open it. I don't know what that is. Thank you, Glooscap. I actually have a grape flavored sparkling water today. It's really good. Enable the drops and let users click the pineapple to snipe. Oh. Well, I'd have to implement that, but yeah. Yeah, you can. I strip out most things, and you can't send scripts, you can't send custom styles, but for the most part, yeah, you can send HTML. A mini clip game? That's good. Okay, let's jump into some Q&A. This question comes from Boyan, and it was asked many days ago. And we'll see if we can talk about it a little bit. Who is asking, what is the usage of use callback in React? I actually have not seen it before, so let's explore it together. I am familiar with React hooks and use effect, but I have not seen use callback, so let's look into it. All right, we're going to search for React use callback. Oh, so let's see. Yeah, so use callback. Wait. Did they change use callback to use effect? Maybe this is old. Let's see. Well, maybe not. No, it's still there. All right, let's look at it. Returns a memoized callback. Okay, so pass an inline callback and an array of dependencies. Use callback will return a memoized version of the callback that only changes if one of the dependencies has changed. I see. So this is useful when passing callbacks to optimize child components that rely on reference equality to prevent unnecessary renders. Okay, so I see. It's called use callback, but it's essentially a hook version of the memoirs function. So if you've never used the memoirs function in React, this is doing the same thing. So you should probably learn about the memoirs function first. No, that's the hooks reference. API reference, React. Use memo. Here it is. No, that's... Wait. What's the difference between use callback and use memo? Okay. Yeah, marquees are still there. Yeah, we have fun here on the Coding Garden. Yeah, DOM Purify. Yeah, and so those of you that are sending HTML, I am using DOM Purify to sanitize it. And DOM Purify is industry standard, like Infi is saying. And if you can cross-site script me, you have found a DOM Purify 0-day, so you should probably get a bug bounty award. Use effect is the lifecycle hook. Yeah, so it's super interesting. There are multiple of them. Menno, if you type ! keyboard, you can get a link to the keyboard that I'm using right now. It's a super cheap mechanical keyboard. Yeah. No styles, but you can use the font tag. And the font tag has all those properties like face and color and stuff like that. So yeah. Memoirs. Memoirs? Yeah, the drop game's on GitHub. So if you go to github.com/codinggarden/seedlingdrop, this is the code for it. But the thing to know about it is that it uses my custom backend chat manager. So you'll notice that I have YouTube and Twitch chat combined. So this game is written to read from that chat server. You could easily modify it to only read from like TMI.js and Twitch chat, but this is the code for the game. Bonsoir, Amado. Or bonjour. Bonsoir? What is bonsoir? I remember that from Mr. Robot. Bonjour. Monsieur. Hello, Amado. But yeah, if you want to check out the drop game, you can look at it here. Hello, Sing. Welcome to the stream. Google removed the HTML blink Easter egg? That's unfortunate. Okay, but the question that was asked was by Boyan. What is the usage of use callback? And apparently it is to memoize a function. So, I mean, we can real quick just talk about like what memoization is, or memoization? Memoize? It's typically used in functional programming, and what it allows you to do is, and it's typically used with functional programming because you really only can memoize a function that is a memoize. There you go. Memoize a function that is a pure function. That is, when you pass a value into the function, you always get back the same result. And because of that aspect of pure functions, memoization takes advantage of it and says, and basically like keeps a cache of the parameters that have been passed to the function. So the first time you call the function, with a given input, it'll calculate the output and then store it for later use. And then if you call that function again with the same input, it doesn't have to calculate it. It just returns the cached value. And so use callback apparently allows you to create a function that is memoized, so that you don't have, you're not recalculating things over and over again inside of your render function, and you're potentially using like a cached version of the result. So that's what use callback does. I've never used it, but it would be fun to explore. We've got a lot of questions to get through, so I'm not going to jump into a React app just yet. So check it out there. Thanks for the pronunciation, Eldic. Memoize. I like calling it memoize. It's like a meow, like a cat. Memoize. No, I was not speaking French. Hello, Mr. Moon. What's up? Hacker man. There we go. Another shout out for that keyboard from Jim. What did you try to do, Majestic Eye? Style, direction, right to left. Ooh. Yeah, actually, I stripped tables. So if you try to use a table, that won't work. Yeah, Mr. Robot is great. Hello, Lul from Ethiopia. Welcome. How would you handle error in Feathers.js, like pop-ups, error message, like username is invalid when input is wrong? Ask the question on qna.coding.garden. So if you go to qna.coding.garden, we can vote on it. If I don't answer it today, it'll be saved there, and I can try to answer it at a later time. Yeah. Memoize, like a cat. Hello, Will. Yeah, I'm using a map book. Mikolaj says, can you please review my app? Let's see who voted for it. Mikolaj used 2 accounts. 3 accounts. They used 3 accounts to vote for their own question. So technically, this question only has like 3 votes. So we'll come back to it. Cool. Harsh is saying, how about a stream on microservices with a full stack? Yeah, it is dedication. Yeah, shout out to Mikolaj. Thanks for putting the work in, but I'm gonna answer some other questions first because they do technically have more votes. What about a stream on microservices with a full stack project? That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, we'll save this as like ideas. I wouldn't be able to do it today, but I'm about it. I've talked about microservices before, and I've done some stuff with AWS Lambda functions, but we could build a full project with it, so that would be fun. I like it. Harsh is saying, how would you manage the requirements for the project before starting coding? Any suggestions for apps or methods? Yeah, I mean, so I work as a software engineer at a software consultancy. So we get clients coming in that ask us to build software for them. And a lot of times they're not very technical. And we actually have a dedicated product team. So we try to stick to agile methods, if you can say that. But essentially, we have what's called like a discovery phase, where the product people and also engineers, architects, anyone that might potentially be involved in the project gets together to discuss what do we want to get out of this application. We typically use user stories, which is an agile concept of writing requirements from the perspective of the user. So like one of the principles in agile software development is you're building software for the user. So you're building things that are going to deliver business value and be valuable to the user. You're not building software for the developers. You're not building software for software's sake. At the end of the day, you're building it for customers. So agile has you take that from the perspective of the customer, the person that's going to actually be using the software. And so we break things down into user stories. We also do like a lean canvas exercise. So the lean canvas is taken from the lean startup. And it's basically like a little worksheet that you can fill out. Show me the image. Oh, it's blocking it. Cool. Why can't I just see the image? Come on. I just want a lean canvas. Yeah, this is probably it. This will work. So basically, the lean canvas helps you evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of an idea for a product or a service. So before you really even get into the requirements, and typically what we do at our company is we try to help the client make sure that their idea is sound and that they're pursuing the right things. Another concept that we use is called MVP, which is minimum viable product, because the client could want the world. They could want like all the features in the world, but we try to help them figure out what are the most valuable features that are going to actually deliver business value. I realize I'm talking a lot. I'm kind of like rambling a lot, but basically from this lean canvas exercise, from identifying the MVP, we create user stories that are in line with that. And those user stories are also prioritized. So once we create the user stories, we have the client basically say like, what's the most important thing to you? And that's what we're going to build first. That said, the engineers also have to have a say in, well, yes, that might be important, but we also need to do this from a technical perspective beforehand. So yeah, in terms of managing and, well, first gathering requirements, using user stories, lean canvas exercise, all of the ideas in the lean startup and in agile with like MVP. We use the Scrum framework, if you want to call it. I'm putting everything in quotes because like everybody does it differently, and a lot of people say they're doing it, but they might not be doing it. And so yeah, we use Scrum, and that's how we actually manage the project itself. So we do 1.5 week iterations, meaning we basically say for the next 1.5 weeks, these are the 5 stories that we're going to be working on, or the 10 stories that we're going to be working on. And once we start an iteration, those stories are locked in. So the client can't change or scope creep what we're going to be doing in that sprint. And then at the end of the sprint, we have a review with the client and say, this is what we built. What do you think of it? do you have any suggestions or any changes before we go into the next sprint? And so that actually allows the client to basically scope creep, because at the end of the sprint, they can say, oh, well, you did this, but I actually want you to do it this way, or I thought of this new feature and it's higher priority. So in that retro and going into the sprint planning for the next sprint, we can basically say, okay, you have all these new ideas, we've reprioritized the backlog, and going into this next sprint, that's what we're going to be working on. So in terms of managing them, I would say use a framework like Scrum. Try to stay agile. I guess that's my suggestion. I don't know. Hopefully that was helpful. Parameter unavailable. Yeah, it should work on Twitch. I don't know why it doesn't work on YouTube. Let's catch up. Up. Very good. FCC released a nice video about planning. FCC. Free Code Camp. Let's try to find it. Is it Free Code Camp? Or yeah, I don't know. What's this? Zrikmad? This is a very big image. I'm not gonna scroll because it's so big. Warhawk says software engineering is a field I'm thinking of going into. You should do it. If you like watching me write code and you like coding, do it. Absolutely. Thanks for the follow, Cosmic Saga. Much appreciated. Well, this is pretty cool. You can do a marquee with emotes inside of it. All right, what's the spoiler? Yeah. The summary and details element is super interesting because it requires no JavaScript, but it gives you this like expand and contract behavior. Oh, and there's a comment. Never mind. Div ID app. That's funny. I never thought about that. Like, should I strip ID attributes? They might get stripped by DOM Purify anyways, because it has the ID app, the app might potentially try to render itself there. It's already selected the element though. I don't know. But it's good. Yeah, right now my consultancy is only senior devs. I've talked about and I'm trying to convince the CEO and everyone else to hire junior devs so that I can mentor them and we can like grow developers internally. And also from a business perspective, junior devs are cheaper. So right now it's only senior devs, but we might have juniors and mids in the future. Nice. Very nice. That sounds like a pain to work with. You mean you mean Agile and Scrum? It's better than what other people try to do. So like the other way people might do it is like big design up front, where instead of having these 1.5 week iterations, they try to come up with all of the requirements at the beginning. So they talk to the client, they try to write down everything, like this is what we're going to build, and then they just set off to build it, potentially without really talking to the client again. But when you do it in this iteration style and you're constantly talking to the client, it really helps with changing ideas and changing scope, because the client can see the product as it's being built and offer suggestions there. So that's why you make those markdowns so fast. This sprint's user story. I want a retro implementation of HTML Blink. Next week's sprint. Yeah, like that could totally happen, but it's totally fine because you stick to this idea of iterations and sprints. And when you go into a sprint, part of Scrum is that the stories that you've committed to do not change. You don't add stories, you don't remove stories. Sometimes it happens, but for the most part, you stick to those. And then when that sprint is over, the client can say, oh, well, I don't want that feature anymore. So yeah. Hello, Alana. Welcome. The Federal Code Commission. Hey, what's up, Robin? It's been a while. Oh. Yeah. Is it the Federal Communications Commission or is it Free Code Camp? I don't know. And thanks for the follow, Semi-Charged Clock. Hello, Will. I don't use a monitor. So right now I'm just using my MacBook screen. I have like a 1080p Scepter monitor over there that's plugged up to my streaming computer. That's about it. At work, I use a 4K Samsung monitor, which is pretty nice. Oh, okay. I'll take a look. Can anyone tell me, is Jim trying to rickroll me? I'm super cautious of clicking YouTube links now because people try to rickroll me all the time. um, Plan code and develop a startup in 2 hours. What's up, guys? Oh, it is from Free Code Camp. Cool. Yeah, check it out. If you would render itself in any ID app, would recursion be possible? It would probably you would run into a Stack Overflow, because it would just keep rendering itself inside of itself over and over again. I've actually had students that ran into that issue with an Angular 1 app. I've never seen it happen with Vue. Thank you, Doc. Merry Christmas to you as well. Very good. I know your question has the most votes, Miku, but you use different accounts to vote for yourself, which is it's okay. It shows initiative. You got initiative, but I'm gonna answer some other questions and then we'll get to yours. There you go, the waterfall method. It makes it fun, doesn't it? I mean, if the client has no idea what they want anyways, you'll be constantly changing back and forth. Yeah, which is why we try to do something like the lean canvas exercise ahead of time and before the project even starts, so we can help the client identify what they actually do want. Yeah, it's hard to get right. Mainly because like a lot of companies that have been around for a long time, like they're used to doing things a certain way. They might have heard that like agile is like cowboy coding. It's not. I don't know. I think no company does agile well. Like, really, the only way you can do it well is if you're constantly retroing and constantly analyzing the way you're working. Because if you just like read the Scrum, if you take a Scrum training and now you just go back to work and try to just do what they taught in the Scrum training, you're not doing agile, because agile is all about responding to change. So every team can adjust the things that are happening in Scrum or whatever, based on what actually does happen. And if you don't do that, then you're not improving and you're not learning from your mistakes. So it definitely wasn't me. Oh, thank you, Dirk Earl. Is coding Rickroll a link? It's safe. Cool. Yeah. I don't know. Just don't click on links. I kind of have to sometimes. Kimalish, ask this question on qna.coding.garden. Let's see if you have. Great work, everyone. It's fun when people try to hack you. It really is. Hello, Gamer Cat and Echo. We're just answering questions. How is the advent of code going? I joined the private leaderboard. Nice. So I have not attempted yesterday's challenge. So I still have to do yesterday, or I mean, technically that's today's challenge. The day before that was really hard. I couldn't have got it without help from Alka, and I have not even. I mean, I attempted part 2, but I'm nowhere near getting it. So I don't think I'm gonna get the 2nd star for day 7. We can check out the private leaderboard. Ugh. Come on, Robin. Did you just say that because you wanted to show me that you're above me on the leaderboard? But that's great. You got day 2. Great work, everyone. Great work. Discord clone with feathers? Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. I really liked 8 do it. Okay, I'll do it. I mean, I guess I want to answer. Look at all these questions. I got to answer questions. We're here to answer questions. I think I can help you out with day 7 part 2. All right. But honest, I don't know if I want help because it like defeats the purpose. It's like I didn't solve it myself. If you can help me without telling me how to, like, yeah, if you can help me without doing it for me, maybe. Maybe. Hello, my coding journey. Welcome. Yesterday was a nice change of pace. Cool. In terms of the challenge, I see. May do a coding advent marathon. Yeah, I think at this point you kind of have to because there's so many that have happened so far, and there's only going to be more because there's going to be 25 total. Tommy is saying today's code challenge was pretty fun. Okay. Spoiler: no, no. It only counts as a rickroll if there's sound. Yeah. Oh, Zrickmad did rendering ASCII art. That would be cool. Very nice. Hello, semi-charged clock. Welcome. Impy says, I've given up on the advent of code already. I haven't. Like, yes, day 7 was definitely demoralizing, but what did you just do? Yeah, this will work because you're adding class attributes. And I guess message.platform is undefined, so it only has the message class? That's super weird. I should probably disable class attributes. Ciao, Domenico. Welcome. Hello, Conrad. But if you do them when they launch, you will be above me because they launch at 6 a.m. for me, and I only do them at night. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so I'll get it done so I can get ahead of Robin on the leaderboard. It's really hard for me to scroll on these things. Let's see what Stazik did. Okay, yeah, you can absolutely do canvases. You can also do SVGs. Good luck, Katoli. Okay, I'll check it out, Kamalesh. All right, let's answer more questions. And let's close tabs while we're here. Cheyenne is saying, I want to use passport local HTTP HT password strategy in my Express app. Is there any method or npm package that I can use to read the HT password file and match a user and password? I searched online, but I couldn't find any example using passport local HTTP HTTP password. HT password. So I think that's like using an HT access file. Yeah, like an HT password file. Let's just look at this package because I've never heard of this or tried to do this. We could look at the source on GitHub and see what it actually does. A password strategy for using bcrypted HT password files. This behaves virtually identically to passport local, except that simply specifying an HT password is enough to provide basic authentication. Okay, so if you have an HT password file that is encrypted with bcrypt, you technically could use it to store all of your user information. Cool. So let's look at it on GitHub. GitHub. Cool. And we can look at the library. I mean, it's probably not a lot of code. So you have our strategy, and what does the strategy do? Switch to pure JS bcrypt.js. Cool. Excuse me. So in the options, you have to specify where the file is. So if we look in there, like getting started, yeah, you do have to say file name. So right here, you would specify the path to your HT password file. Is there any method or npm package? I mean, because they're encrypted with bcrypt.js, yeah, I mean, if you're using passport local HT password, you don't really need to manually verify usernames and passwords and things like that, because once you have passport set up and you have all the middleware set up, then you can just say like if rec.user is set, then you know that they're logged in and they went through the local HT password authentication strategy. It looks like it's accepting a post request to /login, and I believe that is going to it will need to include username and password, and you can see in the actual code here that it is taking the username and password field. And I believe that's probably for the body of the request. Let's see. Yeah, so verify takes that in. Lookup. Yeah. So, I mean, this middleware should just work, if you could say that. Let's look at what the HT password is usually formatted as. Okay, so it's usernames and passwords separated by colons, and in this format, it's expecting you to use bcrypt.js. So if you really wanted to do this manually, you could use the library bcrypt.js from npm. So this is a bcrypt implementation in JavaScript that will allow you to salt and hash passwords, and also verify salted and hashed passwords that were salted and hashed using bcrypt. So you can use this to verify them, and that shows you how to like do hash compares. And you would need to use like the fs node module to read this file in, split on new lines, find the line that begins with the user you're trying to verify, and then compare the password, the hashed version, compare the password they sent after hashing it with the stored hash. Hopefully that helps, Cheyenne. But to me, the information that they have in their GitHub repo here, that seems like it's enough to get it working in your Express app. Hash browns. So if you look at this, it should be enough to get it working if you've worked with Passport before. So I'll say that. Are more people voting for it? That's okay. You know, Stevie Jobs voted for it, so we're gonna review Mikolaj's site. All right, let me catch up on the chat, see if I missed anything. Otherwise, I like it. I'm gonna take a look at it. Who am I? Wait, is this an image? Yeah, this is an image inside inside that. Christian says, "Am I the first to drop the mic?" I don't know if you are, but that's really clever. Drop the mic. You're welcome, Shine. Yeah, and feel free to post in one of the help channels or like a backend help on the Discord, if you do need any help. But you should be able to add this route, make a post request with username and password, and then it'll validate it against that file. Scroll to the right. I changed my Twitch username. Oh, I cache all of the usernames. So, yeah, unfortunately, I cache the usernames, and so you are forever that username until the next live stream. Apologies. All right, let's review this website, coingo.dk. Ta-da! It's not in English, so I mean, is it German? I feel like it's not. It's like German-like. Let me know what language this is. Der Herr für Lagerstring Enkelstedter Produkte Kunden und Leverandorer. Is it Danish? Danish. Okay. I think that's why so many people voted for it. They might be Danish too. Cool. Okay. It's Viking. Okay. Cool. So we have the landing page here. It's got a nav bar up top. Nice little image. So I don't speak the language, so I'm guessing that this is for like payment processing or something like that. Maybe some sort of kiosk for processing payments. Oh, I can change. Oh, there we go. I didn't even see that. But let's do it. English. Hey, very good. So I guess this is advertising a product. You can register users. So inventory management. You have full inventory management. You can administer and sell invoices. Very cool. There's Mikolaj himself. Let's see. Does it respond? Does it blend? So this is potentially one thing to do. Let's see if it will react to like the mobile. Yeah, so you can see when I'm emulating mobile, it might be different if you look on an actual mobile device, but my guess is you might have left off the navigator viewport tag to make it at least look decent by default on mobile. But you could do things with these cards here. So like on mobile, you could make them so that they're a single column. And similarly here, you could maybe take each tier and put it on top of each other with a media query. Cool, but we'll get rid of that. Let's look at the source of the page. Cool, so we know that they're not using like WordPress or anything else like that, because there's very little going on here. Got some JavaScript, got a CAPTCHA. Yeah, it's pretty basic. Should I look at the JavaScript? It's minified, and it's a lot. Cool. So yeah, I mean, I think it's nice and clean. One thing I maybe would like to see is like a quick description of like what is this actually for? Maybe like one or two sentences that describe what is CoinGo and why I should care about it. Because you do describe down here what the features are, but just at the top, I kind of have to scroll to even get there. So that's my feedback there. It looks like we can register an account. Cool. And this is pretty mobile friendly, so that's nice. Cool. Yeah, that's my review. If you have any specific questions about reviewing it, let me know. But that's what I think of it. Oh, and by the way, how was my Danish pronunciation? Was it horrible? Why is this site so similar to my capstone? Is it a school project? It looked like it was an actual company. Add a headline over the image with your unique selling point. Exactly. So that was my like a description of the app. So a lot of users are going to come to potentially might make it to your site, and you have like 10 seconds to grab their eye. Like, why should they stick around? Why should they actually read the different pricing tiers and stuff like that? So if you add some text up at the top that describes what it is and what it's for, I think that would help. Hello, progress bar. Pretty horrible, I'm afraid. That's good. Exactly. Yeah, styled tags get get stripped. And hello, LOL Craftian, welcome. So this next question is from a wallflower, who is an anonymous person, not a patron, just an anonymous person that decided not to log in on the site. And they say, "Hello, friend. How much does a junior front-end developer make a month? Thanks a lot about the good vids. Appreciate it." And this is from Mr. Junior. It really depends on where you are in the world. So like in Silicon Valley, you might have heard that junior developers can get like 80, 90, $100,000 a year. In Europe, I've heard that developers actually make a lot less money. So it might even be $20, $30, or $40,000 a year. So it really depends on the market. In the market that I'm in, which is Denver, Colorado, junior devs can make anywhere from like 50,000 to like 90,000. Like I've known some junior devs that have gotten hired at like larger enterprise companies, and they've been started off at $90,000 a year. So it's highly dependent on where you are in the world. So yeah. In Denver, can a senior dev get 180K? It's probably possible. So in Denver, there are there's Google is here. And Cheyenne just pledged on Patreon. Thank you so much, Cheyenne. And actually, we're going to take a quick break. So Coding Garden is brought to you by viewers like you. Let's take a look at all the patrons' names. And Cheyenne should show up at the bottom, because I added that this morning. Are they there? There's Florin. And there they are! Yay! I actually tapped into Patreon webhooks. So anytime a patron gets added, I automatically add it to that overlay. So that's pretty sweet. Yes, and that is awful. It really depends, and it also depends on what kind of development you're going to be doing, because if you're only doing like HTML, CSS, and like really basic web development, it's probably going to be in the 30, 40, or 50 K range in the area that I work in. But if you also know backend development and you're building more modern applications, Alka with the Patreon pledge. No way. Thank you so much. Let's see Alka's name. You're really testing my webhook implementation. Woo! Emotes in the chat. I didn't do it yesterday, no. All of the backend API work I did off of stream because I didn't want any like user information to get leaked. So I have like a wrapper around their API, which only shows the first name, gets rid of the email. And there he is, Alka, supporting the coding garden. Thank you so much. Hello, Mr. Demon Wolf. What's up? But yeah, and somebody had asked about can senior devs get that? So yeah, so there are large companies in the Denver area, large, like very established companies where you can probably make that much money. I don't make that much money. I make less than that. I'll tell you that. But I do work at a smaller company, and I have a lot of freedom, and I'm okay with the salary that I make at the company that I'm working at. But it is possible to make that much money in Denver. Yeah, no such thing as a junior developer in Silicon Valley. That's unfortunate. Yeah. And hello, Mr. Demon Wolf. Yeah, I didn't see your message earlier. My other chat manager is borked, so I have to depend on not missing messages over on the right-hand side here. Robin is saying there's this thing in marketing, which is the ADA model, which stands for attention, which is your headline, interest, what you do, desire, what you offer, and action, register by. That's a great tip if you want to take that into account for the landing page that we just looked at. In France, 34K a year is a junior. That's good to know. Yeah. Is Duckduckgo live? I mean, like, is it down? It's up for me. Oh, and I guess you were responding to down below, but I mean, it really depends on the market. Like, maybe there are a lot, like, there's not a high demand for developers, and there maybe are a lot of developers, and that drives the price down. Majestic Guy is saying, junior devs, look for remote work in a place that pays more. It could even be out of your own country. Yeah, one of the things to look out for, though, is in an IRL job where you actually have to go into the office, it's a lot easier to get help and be mentored, whereas if you're working remotely and that company isn't used to remote workers, it can be very hard to get the help that you need and get the mentorship that you might want or need. Yeah, that's funny. Italy is about 25 to 30K euros a year. Yeah, and so I've heard that in Europe, developers actually don't make as much money, but yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, if you're working for a startup, especially like in Silicon Valley, a lot of times, instead of a higher salary, you get, what do you call it? Like stake or stock in the company. It may not be publicly traded yet, but you potentially get points. And there's Terrazoid. So Terrazoid is the one that implemented the drops bouncing into each other. Welcome, Terrazoid. What do you got, Mr. Demon Wolf? Oh, it didn't load for some reason. Cool. Oh, you have a field set with a legend. That's pretty cool. Legendary. Yep, Shiftman is. And it's true, most companies don't hire junior devs. That said, typically larger corporations do hire junior developers because they can afford it. Like, they know that a junior developer is not going to be as productive. They're going to need a lot of help. They might need training, and that costs money. So larger companies kind of know up front that it's going to take maybe 6 months to a year before that junior developer is really even providing value to the company. Now, that may not be true. You could be providing value immediately, but a lot of times that's the case. Semi-charged clock says, I'm stuck in construction and I hate it. Have you ever watched Office Space? um, because um, this he was a software developer, and he basically leaves to become a construction worker, and he's just like he's very happy. So yeah, I don't know. Construction might doesn't have to be all that bad. It might be horrible though. I don't know. Conrad with the Patreon pledge. Ah! Thank you so much. Let's show all the names again. And I need a way to reset this because you'll notice when it pops back up, it's only showing the latest ones. Yeah, Conrad, thank you. You're also great supporting me. I appreciate it. Much appreciated. Um, LOL Crafty is saying, what would a cheap one bedroom apartment be there? Would 35K even cover that? You probably would need roommates, but I mean, in Denver proper, like in downtown, it's pretty expensive for like a one bedroom apartment. You might be paying anywhere from like 1,600 to like $2,500 a month, but it really varies. But if you go to the outer suburbs, you can probably find like not very nice, but like decent one bedroom apartment for like six, seven, $800 a month. Here, let me pull up. I'm gonna get everybody to move to Denver, but I'm gonna pull up like a rental website. We want to find apartments for rent in Denver. Maximum price. We're gonna go for $500 a month. And there's no dots on the screen. What if I zoom in? um, really? Okay, what about $800 a month? Wow. Okay, prices have really gone up, and I'm glad that I bought a house recently. But so you can see in the Denver area, I searched for apartments and condos for rent that are no more than $800 a month. Here's a one bedroom, 400 square feet apartment for $800 a month. That is actually really. This is in Capitol Hill, which is really close to downtown. Um, this is Arvada. This is like a suburb of Denver. Um, Townhomes and apartment. Yeah, so this is like a, a, a townhome. I don't know. You can find places for I guess about 800. Um, like when I moved here 5 years ago, it was definitely possible to find a place for rent for like 500 or 600 a month. What about 600? What if we zoom way out? Yeah, you could live in Fort Collins, which is like an hour away from Denver. That's crazy. It's getting expensive. Mm. Have I used all contributors? I haven't. No, I've seen other people use it though. It's pretty sweet. I'm pretty sure that it like automatically adds people to the README if they've contributed. I should use it because we get a lot of community pull requests. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I will look into it. Oh wow, that's unfortunate. In Brazil, a high-paying junior job is around 12K a year. Oh, Mr. Demon Wolf works remotely. That's good. 10K a year in Pakistan. Wow. Yeah, see, it really varies by country. It really does. Yeah, I think, yeah, and Katoli, do you live in Spain? Is that where you are? But yeah, yeah. That's so unfortunate. I guess that's why like a lot of developers might actually come to the US to get a job. Joe Mama is saying, I work remotely as a junior for my company, and I agree with CJ. Getting help or mentoring is a lot more of an issue than if I travel to Denver and go to our office. Oh, cool. Your office is in Denver. 30K is way too low. And thanks for the follow, Arc Orel. It's true. It's true, Robin, because like I guess a lot of or I don't really know, but from you saying that, I would say like the majority of European countries actually have government provided healthcare, whereas in the U.S. you don't, and you have to pay for your own healthcare, or your employer will offset the cost, but you still technically it comes out of your paycheck. So it's true. There are a lot of trade offs. Steven is saying, I got underpaid when my first dev job. Yeah, it's gonna take a while, Kamalesh, especially because there's so many questions. And have I really only been streaming for an hour? It feels like 2 hours. Wow, okay. Time's moving pretty slow. Yeah, no iframes or embeds. Yeah. I would much prefer to get paid less and be able to work from home or work remotely than have to go into the office. And so I go into the office like probably 2-3 days a week. It also varies depending on client meetings, but for the most part, I work from home. Yeah, the construction worker was the happiest in office space. Octagon is asking any tips to get into remote work. Um, uh, for one, you could ask your current company if they would allow you to work remotely. It also varies by your job. Certain jobs might not allow you to take your company computer home and work on it there. Um, I think remotejobs.com or something. There's a website specifically made for remote jobs. Remote.co? That's not it. Remote software jobs. Does anybody know the website? WeWorkRemotely.com. This is it. When I was looking for a job before I got my current one, which I didn't find on this website, but I looked at this website so much. The largest remote work community in the world. A ton of remote work jobs posted here. That's a lot of them are senior developers. You don't see a lot of junior developer posts here, but I would look here if you're trying to get into remote work. Yeah. Mm. For sure, semi-charge, and that makes sense. But you should. I don't know if you are a coder, but you can get in. You can learn to code, get a job. Shirley Dove is saying, I'm saving thousands in fuel, not to mention 8 hours a week by not driving to the office, so a lower salary is perfectly fine for me. Yeah, and I agree. Like, I don't like sitting in traffic for a commute. One, like, I have to pay for gas to drive my car. I have to spend, I mean, my commute is only like 15 or 20 minutes if I were to commute, but still, to me, that's lost time. Whereas when I work from home, I can just wake up, start working if I really want to. I'm like, yeah, it's yeah. 2K, that's a Manhattan ripoff. Booking a flight now. Are you coming to Denver? You're gonna all come live with you, CJ. I mean, it probably wouldn't be legal, but we could get like a bunk system set up in my basement here. I don't know. Probably it wouldn't be comfortable and it'd be very crowded, but we could probably fit like 20 people down here. I don't know. Yeah, don't come. Please don't come. Interesting, yeah. Robin is mentioning when we hire juniors, we mostly hire juniors that are junior in real world experience, but have more coding experience than most juniors. Yeah. Alka says, "Can I crash at your place for a while?" Maybe. I'd have to check some things, and I won't be here for Christmas. I'm gonna go home for Christmas. But DM if you really want to come visit. Yeah, DM me, Alka, not anyone else. um, yeah, I love Denver. $500 a month, zero results. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Conrad. Much appreciated. What's the rent in South Park? You know, South Park is like actually a real place. I've never been there. But I'm pretty sure South Park, North Glen, Thornton. Oh yeah, so this is like north of Denver. It's probably cheaper. Like the farther out you get from Denver, like cost of living is cheaper. That said, Boulder is extremely expensive. Um, and so like this is really expensive. This is like kind of expensive, and then as you get away from that, it's a little bit cheaper to live. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking about like cost of living, how much can you make as a developer, so it's somewhat related. Like hopefully the Twitch people are okay with me being in science and technology because we are talking about software development and coding. Oh, Joe Mama's originally from Marvada. That's cool. Yeah, that's good. I just want to become a good enough coder that Microsoft either hires me or sends an assassin to kill me. That's funny. You're welcome, Miku. Hopefully that was some good feedback. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Union Station is the train station in downtown. Oh, wow. Lil saying, in Ethiopia, a high-paying junior salary is 2K to 4K. Is that per year or per month? Yeah, definitely. So, like, so there are a lot of companies, and especially you might find these companies on We Work Remotely. So there are a lot of companies that are remote first, in that like they have a company culture that knows that there are a lot of remote workers. So people will potentially leave their webcam on all day long. Or when you have meetings with a lot of people, if somebody is in the office, they know that they actually need to speak into the microphone when you're in a meeting, because those of us that are on the phone may not be able to hear. So a lot of companies that have like a remote first culture will end up working out great, because everyone else is working remote as well, and everyone else is aware of what that entails. Um, but if not, then you can run into issues. Yeah. In Canada, junior devs start around 60K. That's good to know. I go in 0 times. Yeah. So in Eldic was mentioning Zoom. Zoom is like a really good video chat service. I'll just say that. Like their video quality is insane. Their screen sharing is really great. I have way less issues with Zoom than I do like Google Hangouts. Yeah. Yeah. Did Twitch update their moderator and verified icons lately? I don't know. I do not know. I am 5 minutes behind on chat though. Yeah, Christian is saying, I think my efficiency would drop working from home. It really depends. You do have to be disciplined. Um, and you might actually, and what a lot of people do that I know that work remotely is they have a dedicated office where, and it's in their house, but when they go into that office, their spouse, their kids know not to disturb them because they are at work. And they treat that space very differently from the rest of their house. I don't do that. I will just sit on my couch and code, but I love it. Hello, Kyle. Welcome. Yeah, I see. Shirley Dev is saying, a tip for negotiating working from home is when it comes to pay review time and you're not happy with what they offer you as an increase, then negotiate a day or two working from home. That makes sense. Be like, okay, you're not giving me what I'm asking for, but what if I worked from home a few days a week and I will accept this this pay or no pay bump, or this pay bump that you've given. Cool. Flex Jobs, I guess, is another website. Remote.io. Let's check it out. Ah, yeah. I think I've seen this website before. So check out remote.io. We work remotely. They're out there. Good luck, Katoli, who applied at a remote job. Good luck. Remote okay. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Hydrate. I guess it's because I've been talking so much. It does feel like a long time, but you shouldn't be worried. Don't worry. I feel okay. Would you consider 1 year and 4 months a mid developer? I wouldn't base anyone's title on how long they've been developing. Because I know a lot of I know I'm not going to say a lot. I've met some developers who have been in development for 10 years, but they're kind of still junior in a way. So like levels really aren't based on amount of time. It's really like what you do and how self-sufficient you are. Um, so yeah. So it depends. You might be. I mean, I've known some junior developers that are like mid-level within a year or within 6 months, but it really varies. Yeah, it's a good point, Robin. So I highly recommend trying to work remotely a few times before actually going remote full. I've done remote work, and I know others who did. Some people may not like it or be less productive. It's true. And at my current job, I mean, the first 3 months that I was there, I only worked remotely like a couple of times, like on a Friday. But now, for the most part, I try to work from home when I can. And thanks for the follow, LOL Craftian. Welcome. Surely Dev, you're not in the top 5. I don't really have a way of checking right now. Mozilla shut down Thimble. That's unfortunate. Thimble was like a really cool way for like teaching coding, wasn't it? And sharing coding websites. Yeah, we're moving. Time to check out Glitch. Weird. Glitch is pretty cool, but I don't know if it's a full replacement for Thimble. Andrew says, I walk to school. All right, I'm way behind on chat, so let's see. Boot camp with CJ. I mean, that's kind of what like seedling school is turning into. 28 people into. I mean, it's like you would be very cramped. You would have this much space to sleep in. It was a joke. Nice. I don't well because Alka's been I've known Alka at least digitally for a very long time. I don't know who the rest of you are. I mean, sort of. My favorite non-coding YouTube channels. I'm subscribed to a bunch of skateboarding YouTube channels lately. I mean, just like Thrasher, Transworld, The Barracks. I like skateboarding. Yeah. That's not South Park. South Park's in the mountains. I don't know. There are not too many job offers for junior positions or remote. That makes sense. And it's true, yeah. Possibly. Weird. No, Andrew, you're trying to rickroll me. I know it. I know it. I should give a Google coding interview. I don't know if I could pass it. Like, a lot of the, at least from what I've seen in the Google interviews, are they're very computer science heavy, and I haven't done a lot of that stuff in a while. Yeah. Do you remember Hack Hands? Never heard of it. An online technology mentoring platform. Huh. Interesting. Is it like Code Mentor? That's cool. Yeah. Bob says, I have a question. I'm laying in bed and I can't get up, but I have 3 finals tomorrow. How do I find the motivation to get out of bed and study? Um, just do it. Just do it. I don't know. I really don't know. Um, I mean, this is a symptom of like procrastination as well. And also, like, have you already studied? Like, do you need to actually study more? Because if you really do, then you probably should. But if you don't, and you probably can do okay without studying, then don't worry about it. I don't know. Oh, okay. I mean, is your name Steven? It might have been at like a Denver meetup or something like that, but cool. And thanks for the follow, Tokayit. Hello. Thank you, Ashish. Appreciate that. Have I heard about digital nomads? Yep. We're trying to answer questions, but I'm very behind on the chat. Um, there's a giant dog living at my house right now. I'll say that. Okay. Code Mentor is similar. How much does a cloud engineer make in the US? I really don't know, and I really don't know what it means by cloud engineer. Is that like DevOps that mainly does like AWS and Google Cloud or something like that? Yeah, definitely. Nowadays, Coding Garden with CJ gets growing between software developers like mid, beginner, and senior. Yeah, it's true. There are a lot of people in the community. I mean, there are people with a ton of experience, people with no experience, people with like a little bit of experience, like mid amount of experience. This is a very widespread community, and I try to keep it that way and try to keep it very open to anyone that wants to hang out. I haven't talked about the Cybertruck yet. Did somebody ask about Cybertruck? It's a real website. Can someone confirm that Andrew is not trying to rickroll me? Oh, actually, I know what to do. I know what to do. Unfurler. I swear I've found a website to do this before. It basically takes a link and then tells you what it redirects to. What the heck? Is there a redirect header on this? Post bit.ly location. Yeah, this is a rickroll, isn't it? What's lungers.com? Yep, look at this. Look at this. we're redirecting to YouTube, and let's use my embedder website. We should be able to scrape the title of this YouTube video. Yes. Andrew has tried to rickroll me through 3 levels of indirection, but you have failed, Andrew. You have failed. My plan for the new year? Just keep on keeping on. Good evening, Pyramidjit. Welcome. Oh, by tipping a plus? I didn't know that. Yeah. No Reddit browsing today. I'm trying to answer questions. What's the difference between Docker and Kubernetes? So Docker can be used with Kubernetes. So Docker is a containerization tool, and Kubernetes is a way of orchestrating many different containers. It's like the production version of Docker Compose. It's not a rickroll. It's a rickroll. It was a rickroll. I will get you. See you later, Camelot. Sorry I didn't get to your question. If I do, I will let you know where the timestamp is and you can watch later. But thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, that was a fun game. All right. So that took a while to answer. Let's keep on moving. This question is from Sean. With a production site that needs to handle user-uploaded images, would you recommend using Cloudinary or an S3 bucket or something else? I would probably just use an S3 bucket. But it, yeah, so that's how Majestic Guy rickrolled me last night. That's funny. But it really depends on your use case. So Cloudinary, as far as I know, is also like a media conversion tool. And so not only do they provide static hosting, they also provide an API for processing images and optimizing them. And if you need that, Cloudinary is probably the way to go. But if you just need to store the images as the user uploaded them, S3 is probably the easiest, or some other static file upload and storage service. But if it is user uploaded images, you may want to like resize those images on upload, and Cloudinary does have like image manipulation and different things like that, where basically you can store the original user's image at full resolution, but then display a scaled down version to like save on bandwidth. So yeah. So yeah, if you just need static, go with S3 or something similar. If you need processing, Cloudinary is like, it seems really nice for that. That said, you could create all of that processing yourself in like your own custom backend with like image magic and stuff like that. But yeah. The real danger of December. See you later, Eldic. Thanks for tuning in. You need a shortener that returns different websites based on the user agent. That would do it, because if it detected it was like a curl, it could just send back something like non-malicious. But yeah. Okay, this question comes from GZProxin. If I have an API that gets data from another API and saves it to my DB, want to keep checking if there is new data every 1 minute, how can I do that? You would need to, if your backend is deployed on a server that's always running, so if it's on like EC2 or if it's on like a Dropbox droplet, when you start up that backend application, like if it's an Express app, it's basically always running in the background. So because you're in JavaScript, you could just do like a set interval that runs a function every minute. So you could do a set interval with like a 60,000 milliseconds. If your deployment is a bit more complicated than that, did I say Dropbox? I'm fumble with my words. DigitalOcean droplet. DigitalOcean, Linode, AWS EC2, those things that give you a dedicated virtual private server that's always running. That's what I meant. I apologize. The leaderboard will not update if you have not beat the top 5 highest scores here. And Candy Cane's not going to do it. Yeah. Any sort of hosted server. You in your app, you could just say do a set interval or a set timeout, and every minute call the API and load the latest data. If it's more complicated than that, in that you have like a serverless deployment and you don't have a server that's always running where you can just do like a set interval, then you might look into like timed functions. So it really depends on your deployment strategy. If I were doing it, I would just do it as simple as possible, deploy it to a single server, and in my JavaScript app, just do like a set timeout. That said, you also could use like a cron job. So if you have a server that you're in control of and it's like a Linux server, cron jobs or like the cron tabs are a way of scheduling a task to run at a specific time, or a cron. And so what you could do is you could create a separate task. And I guess I assume you're using node.js because this, I usually talk about JavaScript stuff. So you could literally create a file that's called like task.js. And inside of that task, you contact the API and then insert into the database. And with cron, you could basically schedule it to run once every minute or once every hour. And now that's just a totally separate task that's not included with your API. That's probably the better way to go, because if your API ever crashes, the interval of checking might not be consistent. But with a cron, you know that it's going to run at a specific interval. Also, depending on the deployment services, they offer timed functions, so you might look into that. I'm done talking about that. Yeah, it could be, Ashish, that you did not get higher than a 95.2, unfortunately. Dropbox droplet reminds me of when you could host static HTML on Google Drive. You can host static HTML on Dropbox, I'm pretty sure. See you later, Warhawk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the follow, Yunzira. Andrew's site is a legit URL shortener. Well, long URL, short URL. Set the user agent to Mozilla. Yeah. I might take a look later. All right, let's answer the next question. This question comes from Durkarol, who says, can you talk a bit more about microservices? Is it somehow related to domain-driven design or development? What are they? Why are there? Or like, why are they? I am very scared of getting. I shouldn't be that scared, but I am. Well, yeah. What are they used for? Do they protect business logic, the true intent of development? Yeah. Um. So yes, we can talk about this. I'll tell you that I haven't really built any production apps using microservices, but I know of it and I know how it works. So domain-driven design. I don't know if it's related to domain-driven design. So domain-driven design is an approach in software development for complex needs by connecting the implementation to an evolving model. Placing the project's primary focus on the core domain, basing complex designs on a model of the domain, initiating a creative collaboration between technical and domain experts. Um, I honestly don't know enough about it to say that it is this. But what I can tell you is it's kind of like the single responsibility rule, which is like a very basic general software development thing. Um, Whereas microservices are like very small services that do one thing and one thing well. You could think of a microservice as just like a single request handler in an Express application. It only does one thing. Um, and by splitting your app up into microservices, it's potentially easier to add or change in the future. So instead of having one big monolithic application, which is like the opposite of a microservice, a monolithic application is like one deployment, everything lives there, and it's potentially harder to change because you have a large growing code base. Whereas if you do something with microservices, it kind of forces you to modularize your code and share and reuse internal modules where you can. So that's kind of like one of the main benefits of it. Um, and at the end of the day, when you actually deploy microservices, your clients are not talking to like 10, 20 different APIs. You actually put a basically like an application load balancer in front of all the microservices so that when a request comes in, that load balancer will redirect that request to the right microservice. So that's mostly of what I know about it. It really isn't about protecting business logic because at the end of the day, that logic would have been hidden in a backend application as well. I mean, that said, you could have smaller modules that are hiding the logic. But yeah, I'll say I haven't done it enough to really know that much about it, but hopefully that gives you some insight. I don't know. Hello, Mr. Moonslam. Yeah, I have a ton of questions that people have asked, so I'm trying to get through them. Um, and I have been streaming a lot without answering the questions, so I'm trying to do that. And thanks for the follow, great ape, great ape. Welcome. See you later, Domenico. Thanks for tuning in. Any thoughts on making an app like Sarvio? I don't know what that is. Microservices confuse me when gRPC is used for communication. Yeah, so that's the other thing. Like, what if your microservices need to talk to each other? Then do they talk to the main load balancer API that in turn talks to the microservice? Now you have like network delay. Or if they're running on the same machine, do they just use some sort of like socket communication? There's a lot to figure out. An idea, a URL shortener, but it turns the URL into lyrics from Never Gonna Give You Up. I've said that it only counts as a rickroll if it's actually the video. Like, it can't just be an image or text. I haven't seen that. There's a an ASCII rickroller. Yeah. I don't have. I'm on Windows. I don't have PowerShell. But I mean, I think you're trying to rickroll me. Or at least rickrolling me in the terminal. That might be the highest drop score yet. Bob's Paradox with a 99.98. Great work. Great work. I don't think I've seen one higher. We can look. I can look in the database. Though this might actually redirect to a script that loads that thing into PowerShell. Yeah, so that loads a PowerShell script. Rick ASCII. Yeah. There's a Mac version of PowerShell? Wow. Yeah. Too good, Bob. Did I say that? I'm mixing up my words. I'm on a Mac. I don't have PowerShell. Thanks for catching it though, because a lot of times I'll say things like this and nobody corrects me, and I appreciate it because other people might have been very confused. But yeah, I'm on a Mac. Maybe my grades will. You know what, Bob? That's motivation. Like, you have already beat Coding Garden Drop Game. Like, you're at the top. You're at the top of your game, which means you should probably go study for your classes. It's like finals week or something, isn't it? Yeah, I've thought about it, but grade 8, B8, B8. I always say index DB, but it's actually indexed DB. Appreciated. I don't know if I'll remember that, but appreciated. Okay, this next question comes from Take a Chance, who is saying, what do you use? Oh, I accidentally archived it. What do you use for contact forms? Um, it depends. So if we're building like a full-fledged application from scratch and it requires some way of the user contacting support or something like that, a lot of times we'll actually just build that into the application. So we'll build a custom backend route. We'll find some like email provider like AWS email or SendGrid or something like that, and we'll build the whole thing. That said, for like a marketing website or something like that, there are things like HubSpot or other services that help with marketing that provide a contact form that you can just embed in your website. So it depends. It depends on the kind of site that we're building. I'm not drinking tea. I usually do, but I didn't get any tea, so I'm drinking a grape flavored sparkling water. Andrew Lane back on the leaderboard with a 98.12. Great work. Great work. What is CMDB? All my coworkers quit over it. I don't know what CMDB is. Configuration management database? Huh. It's like inventory? I don't know. Never seen it. Why not just form? I think what they were asking is like a contact form. So it ultimately would need to send an email or put that message in a database, which then there's an admin UI where you can see those messages. So like if a website says contact us, how do you or implement that contact us form? Yeah, so you could use a form, absolutely, and that's if you're doing your own integration. But if you're using a third-party service, a lot of times they just have an embed that you can put on there. I've talked about deploying Node before. If you look at my video on now.sh deployment, so if you go to coding.garden/videos and then just search for now, there's this video how to deploy with now, and I show how to deploy a lot of different applications. One of them being a node.js application, so you can check that out. Sam is also avoiding studying for finals. Not gonna happen, Sergi. Good try though. Good try. Very innovative. Yeah, marquees work for sure. Bob says, I made a contact form for a company's website this semester. It just said entries to a Google Sheet. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You could even create a Google form, and then there's just an API to post to that Google form, which in turn you can set up that Google form to add entries to a spreadsheet. So you don't even have to leak any like API keys or anything like that. But yeah, Blink. For some reason, Blink tag doesn't work, but the marquee does for sure. Yeah, this is code. Very cool. Very good. That's pretty cool. Google already knows everything anyways. Yeah, so there's SendGrid. I've used, what is it called? It's not Rocket Mail. But yeah, there are other email sending APIs. Token to shell is a terminal? Never heard of that. Um, it really depends. You might do it desktop apps with C#. I mean, a lot of enterprise and larger companies still use desktop apps like that, but I would reach for like Electron or something like that. Template is asking, how would a sports betting website update odds live? They're probably using something like WebSockets. And if they're not using WebSockets, they might be doing something like long polling or server sent events. Basically, when you open that web page in the browser, it has a real-time and constant connection to the backend. So if the backend sends events like price updated or odds updated, the front end receives those events and is reflected immediately. This Q&A website that I built uses sockets. So if you're on the Q&A website, vote for this question, and I'll keep my hands off the screen. You should see the heart update in real time because I'm using sockets behind the scene. So it'd be very similar to what like a sports betting or a stock ticker website would be using behind the scenes. Is anybody going to vote for it? We'll see. We'll wait. You do have to be logged in. I feel like oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we just got two, as the votes come in, it instantly updates. And that's because behind the scenes, there's actually a socket server that is sending those events. So if we look in network in here, and we look on WebSockets, we can see all of the messages that are incoming. And yeah, so we see vote created with a given ID. And then my code is listening to these incoming messages and automatically updating the UI to show the latest number of votes. So anytime a vote gets created, we'll see a new event. Yeah. Mailjet or Node Mailer? I don't know. Or webhooks. Yeah, that works too. So webhooks are a way of like servers talking to each other. So I'm using the Patreon webhooks to know whenever I get a new patron. And so the way that works is Patreon will send a request to my server when something happens, and then my server emits a socket event to any clients that are open so that they know that I have a new patron. But yeah, that works as well. And thanks for the YouTube sub, Moises. Hello, Rockcode. Someone should make a 24/7 drop stream. I don't know if it would be against the terms of service, but yeah, that would be fun. A text-based drop. Just drop and numbers. That would be fun. I typically always just use WebSockets, and if you use Socket.io, it will fall back to long polling if the client doesn't support WebSockets. So, I mean, Socket.io is really my extent of working with real-time stuff because it hides all of the implementation details. Thank you, Boyan. Oh, marquees inside marquees? What's happening there? It's like one moving slower or faster than the other one. That's really cool. Yeah, this is built with Vue. Yep. Okay, this question comes from Wallflower Steven, who asks, how much DevOps stuff do you need to know as a software engineer? Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins. It really depends. And actually, the other cool thing is if someone votes, we'll see their name pop up here too. So I'll leave that open. But if somebody else votes, not only does the heart update, but the actual name of the user should pop up in here. But it really depends. Myself, because I work at a much smaller company, we used to have a dedicated DevOps person. But now we don't. And so I've really taken up a lot of that work. And Docker definitely helps with local development. So if you're building, wait, what happened? Did somebody vote twice? Well, I told them to vote on this one anyways. What's exposed? Oh, I can too. Yeah, that's true. But Docker really helps with local development work. And if anything, I would get familiar with Docker because a lot of It really helps with setting up a local development environment and not having to be dependent on like a deployed development server or something like that. Yeah, it's fine. It's just their names. So I would say you could and should maybe be familiar with Docker. Kubernetes is really like a deployment strategy, so you probably don't need to be familiar with that kind of stuff unless you're scaling deployments or managing the deployed servers. Jenkins is like a continuous integration, continuous deployment tool. I myself am familiar with setting up like Travis CI and Circle CI, and they all work off of configuration scripts. So it depends. I think it's good to know those things, especially like if something goes wrong, you don't have to depend on the DevOps person to help you fix it. Like you could potentially debug it if you have the right access and fix it yourself. So it really depends. I myself, though, have worked with Docker. I've worked with Jenkins. I haven't done Kubernetes, but I am familiar with like Linux system administration and working with these things as well. Yeah. It might result in it might fall back to long polling if it couldn't get an initial socket connection, and that would be if like it timed out in the socket connection. So if you refresh the page, it might actually use WebSockets. Doc is saying, say you have 1,000 users running off a single server you want to update in real time. Keeping 1,000 socket connections open simultaneously might be too much load, but a few thousand HTTP requests spread out over a minute, not so much. It really depends. Like with Node.js, because it is single-threaded and has an event queue, um, it actually like you have that many connections open, but still only one thing is happening at a time, and it can manage that. I don't know. I haven't really scaled for like major like thousands and thousands of users. Hello, Anon from India. Am I a senior? I am a senor. Senor CJ. Technically, I have a. Oh, look at that! Look at the little car driving. But yeah, technically, I have the title of chief architect. Not architect. Chief full stack engineer is my title. So chief is technically like higher than a senior. I don't know. Oh yeah, so I think that's the initial negotiation. So that's the initial negotiation to connect to the socket, and then it happens as um, um, happens as sockets. In the U.S. too. So in English, a senior citizen is like a very old person. Oh no! Basically, my answer was it really depends on your job and your duties, but it does not hurt to know those things. That's the short answer. Yeah, same in America. Okay. This question comes from Pranjal, who says, types of React hooks. Should we rewrite our apps in hooks now? I wouldn't say you should rewrite your application. I would say if you're adding new components and you're adding new features to your app, it might make sense to start using hooks instead. It might make the code base a little bit cleaner. So I would say no, don't go rewrite your app. If you're just learning, it might be fun. It might be a fun exercise to rewrite one of the applications you've built using React hooks. So there's that. And in terms of the types, there are there's like the use state hook, which allows you to create some local state for a functional component. And really, that's all it's used for. You create the state, and you can manage the state in that local component. And then there's also use effect. And pretty much all custom hooks are like a wrapper around use effect, like for the most part. But yeah, that's my answer there. Yeah, you guys want to do a typing race? I should probably take a break. I've been streaming for 2 hours. Could you get senior discounts at restaurants? That happens. Like actual seniors, so actual like older people do get like 55-cent coffee at McDonald's, but not me. I am of Hispanic descent. I'm like French, Italian, uh, Mexican, and Jewish. Not a lot. There's a little bit of Jewish. I'm a lot of things. Could you Babel transpile socket.io code written inside Vue or not? Yeah, it is. So if you look at the source for this web page, it's all bundled up and transpiled. So it's transpiled with Babel and then bundled with Webpack. And if you look at the source, it is ES5, and it is using socket.io. Yeah. You might need to delete your saved addresses in Google. I disabled that and just deleted mine in general. But by the way, this car chase was great. Great work, Sergi. And great work, Shirley Dev. Yeah, it's good. Were these like emotes? Oh, I see. Flutter is cool. I like it. I haven't built anything major with it, but it's cool. Good online resources to learn React. Check out Brad Traversy. Check out Scott Talinsky. Level Up Tuts. Check out Wes Boss. Check out Coding Garden. If you go to Coding Garden /videos and just search for React. A while back I did a video on Intro to React, so this is probably a good place to start if you like my teaching style. Hello, Sandeep. Welcome. I'm not sure. I haven't really worked on the Nuxt app. So Nuxt is server-side view, but yeah, I'm not completely sure. Oh, I had that exact issue. I forgot how I disabled it, but yes, I know what you mean. So yeah, you're creating an autocomplete where you want someone to type in an address and you're pulling in places results from Google, but the browser's autocomplete like overlays on top of your custom autocomplete dropdown. Yes, I've had that exact issue, and I don't remember how I fixed it, but I'm pretty sure I fixed it. I don't know. It only depacks Webpack code if the website included their map files. And I deleted my map files so that you could not easily see the code. Yeah. Subscribed. Thanks, Mr. Moonslam. Yeah. If you're on Discord, I might look into it later and see how I did it. I don't remember. Oh, thank you, Matthias. Much appreciated. No, it's still technically open source. I just need to push it to GitHub. If you look at the source of the page, you could still technically like deminify it. Like look at this and then press this button. So it's open source in the sense that you can read it here. It's just that while I was developing it, I didn't want anybody to get wise and try and hack it and like add extra votes and stuff like that. And I think I've done a pretty good job of locking it down, so I'll probably open source it pretty soon. Yeah. Nah. I'm not drinking tea. I'm actually just drinking grape-flavored sparkling water. There is an anti-autocomplete HTML attribute. That's probably it. How can we delete, hide, encrypt our JS code from the server? If you're building JavaScript code that runs inside of a web browser, you cannot. Like, the browser has to actually run the JavaScript. You can obfuscate the code, which makes it very hard to understand and like very hard to read. But at the end of the day, if the code is running in the browser, you have to send it to the browser. As far as a backend code, that's just hidden because your backend is just an HTTP server written in JavaScript. So yeah. Can I get a job in FANG companies with only JavaScript skills? Probably. Yeah. Hello, Katoli. Welcome back. My favorite TV series of all time. Oh, that's a hard one. It might be King of the Hill. Like I can always just watch any episode of King of the Hill and watch them like back to back. I like King of the Hill. It's a funny show. Yeah, check that out, Alka. Yeah. Check out what Alka shared. Thank you, Alka. So it's closed source? Well, yes, but actually no. But I have a backend restriction. So if you try to add extra votes, um, I have a backend route that prevents it looks in the database to see if that given user ID has voted on a given question, and if you haven't, it will block it. So those are the kind of things that I worked out first, um, and why I didn't want to immediately open source it. Oh, you might at the end of the day, like you could still like watch the network traffic, but that's an interesting question. Fuck, I don't know. Yep, Icy Black Deep says I'll accept that. Like JavaScript uglifiers. Yeah, look for a JavaScript obfuscator. So JavaScript obfuscation. Not only uglifying, but obfuscator does some really weird stuff. Where even if you deminify the code, it makes it like almost impossible to even read what's happening unless you have like some sort of deobfuscator. When I was in the C# .NET world, we actually obfuscated our C# code because C# applications can be decompiled because it's just, at the end of the day, it's the .NET virtual machine bytecode. So you can decompile that code and get the original C# source code. But if you run it through an obfuscator, it makes it very hard to get the original C# source code. Hello, Noble and Savage. Yeah, things are good. Dexter, Hannibal, and Death Note. Cool. My thoughts on Blazor. I haven't really. If you're talking about the ASP.NET rendering thing, I really don't know much about it. It seems cool. Like the fact that it can. It's almost like it's using WebSockets to do server-side rendering and then like getting socket events and updating the web page, which is like weird, but yeah, I haven't used it. I don't know. What's this about? Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? uh, I might check out Watchmen. That's it. I've been watching The Mandalorian, and it's really good. That's a good show. It's not my favorite, but it's good. Security through obscurity is not the greatest idea, but initially, like I built this Q&A website in about 2 hours the night before I did a Q&A session. So I wanted to just get the thing out there, and nobody really tried to hack it. And then I added the protections onto it so that you can't have multiple votes and stuff like that. And now it's ready for the world. But yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of people think that well, I guess you might also be referencing obfuscation, um, which again falls under this same thing. Like security through obscurity is not the greatest. Like it's one level of protection. It's not the ultimate, but it's one level of protection. That's funny. Oh, weird. Yeah, I don't know, Boyan. I have about 100 questions to catch up on. So if you ask it over here, I might answer it. Yeah, so it's like it's one level, but it shouldn't be the only thing that you do. AKA vanilla JavaScript. It does really weird things, like converting everything to like brackets and stuff like that. I don't know. Exactly, exactly. Thanks for the follow, Alexaku. Welcome. Yeah, it makes it less. It makes it harder to follow and harder to reverse engineer. Okay, never mind. Move on. Have I tried Zeit SWR? Nope. What is it? React hooks library for remote data fetching. Hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, Infi. And that's what a lot of these obfuscators do. They turn the code into a bunch of weird symbols. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, when you build a website with JavaScript, that JavaScript has to be delivered to the client. So it's going to be in the browser, people can see it. Is the Q&A app just an excuse to skip the questions? No, I'm trying to be organized. Like if you ask your question over here, eventually I will get to it. But if you don't, then it's unfair to anyone that has asked their question over here. So, thank you, Katoli. Thanks for the link. There we go. That's some obfuscated code. Yeah, let's check out the demo. Well, I'll click it here. Oh, I see. It'll do like refetch on interval. It's pretty cool. It actually reminds me of Figbird, which is a React hooks implementation of a Feathers.js client. And you have hooks like use get, use find, use mutation. And something like use get. So in Feathers, like typically with Feathers, you would say like feathers.service notes get some ID. And that gives you back some data. But this use get hook actually makes it like a real-time updating thing. So in your component, you just say use get. If it's loading, you'll render this. If there's an error, you'll render this. If you actually have data, you'll render this. But if in the future that data updates, so like there's a real-time socket event that says the item with this ID has been updated, your component will actually re-render. And similarly with find. So it seems like it's that, but for APIs in general rather than like Feathers specific, which is interesting. Yeah, so what's the question? Have I used it? Have not used it. It looks cool. It seems very similar to this. You can confirm whether or not it's similar to this, but to me it seems similar to something like Figbird, but it's meant in general for pretty much any API, and you can set it to like refresh that request on a given interval or something like that, which is pretty cool. um yeah, exactly. What do I miss the most when Flash dies? Flash is already dead. I don't even have Flash installed on in my browser. I cannot load Flash websites. Yeah. Eventually. Hello, Daniel Garden. Welcome. Figma. I see CJ is a man of culture as well. What? um, how would you win the other dev over? It's going to be really hard, honestly, because React Native is more mature in that it's been around for a lot longer than NativeScript. So there's potentially more community resources and tutorials for using React Native over NativeScript View. But one way might be to do like a very simple proof of concept where you just build a simple app with NativeScript View. You can show them the code. You can say, look how easy it's going to be for us to do it this way. And that might help win them over. That's usually what I would resort to, is like just proof. I would spend the time to actually, instead of just trying to argue the point, show them how you could actually do it and show them potentially why it's better. Yeah. How is BirdBrain going? I haven't had a chance to work on it much, but I might actually refactor this because this is a Vue app. I might create the BirdBrain library and use that instead. But BirdBrain is going to be my Vue.js 3.0 implementation of Figbird. So that's the plan. That's what people will do, yeah. So basically, part of your build process. So if you're running your code through like Babel and Webpack, you could have another process that after it outputs that, you run it through an obfuscator, and that's the code that you deploy. Hello, James. You need to dispose your effect. So if you look at the docs for effect, it returns a function that will be called when it's disposed. And basically, you can do a check to make sure that the component isn't mounted before you do the state update. But yeah. Tech lead, is that you? That's not the tech lead, is it? Ah. That makes sense. Chrome bundles Flash whether you want it or not. What? What? I mean, Stripe is just taking advantage of HTTPS and SSL to encrypt that data. But one of the major things that they do is they have like um, what's the word? They have compliant data stored. So they store the credit card numbers, but they're encrypted at rest, and they're doing all the things to make sure that your data is secure, so that you don't have to do that in your own backend. Cool. The score only gets added if it's a higher score than the current top 5. Yeah. All right. Jan says, and hello, Jan. Have you even been in the chat? When was this? Yeah, this was asked today. I've been working on this site for school for the past week and would love it if you could take a quick look. Cheers. I have a feeling, like, is this a Rickroll? Who voted for it? Sergi? Jan, I think, was one of the first to Rickroll me. It is. Like, Jan, I know it. Jan was one of the first people to Rickroll me, so I know that they're the kind of people that would try to do it. Yeah, look at you, replacing the location with a YouTube link. There it is. Great try, though. Great try. Like, you appealed. I mean, basically, everyone's using the same trick, though. Everyone's saying, like, check out this website that I built. You got to come up with a different scheme to try and Rickroll me, because now I'm very suspicious of anyone that asks me to check out their website. Yeah, that's true. A lot of companies do this as well. So Doc is saying, if you're obfuscating to protect code you ship to customers and you're worried about your code being stolen. So there are a lot of companies that sell like premium licenses to JavaScript libraries. And typically JavaScript's just like open source. So like if they sell the library to you, you could just take that JavaScript and use it elsewhere. But they might do tricks like this where the code is actually uniquely fingerprinted, so that way when it's running, you know exactly which client that code came from. So like if they shared that code with someone, you know that they're potentially violating terms or something like that. But yeah, it's a possibility. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate that. Challenge accepted. Check out this website I built last week. Come on. It's not cheating. It's a way of actually checking without loading the Rickroll. I mean, I think my sound's muted anyways. Oh, does .dev have to be HTTPS? Oh, well, if that doesn't exist, you should buy it, Katoli, because that's a good domain. There you go. Yeah, that was me, Alabama Man, the Twitter clone with the guy who made processing, Mr. Daniel Schiffman. If you go on my YouTube, and you scroll down to collaborations, I have it linked. But yeah, that was me. I built the full stack Twitter clone. I think this was like a year and a half ago. September 11th, 2018. No, it was a year ago. Year and a couple months, but that was me. With Dr. Daniel Schiffman. That processing man. He's a major he's on the board of the Processing Foundation and a major proponent of it. Yeah, he did make processing. Thank you all for the correction. Don't live your days in fear of the Rickroll. You know, the thing is, like, once I Once I relax is when I'm gonna get rickrolled. That's when it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Oh yeah, and Elub found me on Dance Channel. Is Java dying? I don't know. Yeah, Andrew found my channel on Coding Train. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. I've been talking for 2 hours. Waiting for Mexico questions. I'm not even from North America. Are there questions down here from Mexico? I never heard this. Okay, that's spam. This is somebody trying to SQL inject me. That's spam. That's also spam. I answered a similar question earlier. So, it really depends on where you live in the world, to know how much a junior developer would make. Typically, like a junior backend developer might actually make more than a junior front end developer, but it really all depends. It really all depends. Yep, I am using a MacBook Pro. Yes, I am. A 2015 MacBook Pro. It's an old one. And hello, Alex. I live in Denver, Colorado. What is meant by technical debt? Oh yeah, I'll show it. I'll push my Q&A code up to GitHub. I'll do that very soon. Actually, when I come back from a break, I'm gonna do that. I like that question. Um, is today Sunday? I don't know if I'm gonna have time for gaming night. Maybe next weekend. Next weekend. Oh, the first one. Oh, okay. I'll answer both of those when I get back. All of my answers are it depends. We want inaccurate and inspiring answers. Well, you came to the wrong place. I'm a very realistic person, and I'm not going to tell you something that may not be true. Yeah. Well, I wanted to clear up the spam questions because there's a bunch in here. There's a bunch. So, but we're gonna get to it. Let's play some Jackbox. Is going to college as a software engineer major worth it? It is. Maybe. It depends. If you ask on the Q&A website, I'll give you some more insight into that. Oh, cool. Let's play some Advent of Code. Thanks for the follow, Wasabi Cheetah. Yeah, I use Grant, not Passport. It depends. Everything depends. All right, I'm going to take a 10-minute break, but when I come back, I will answer this question from Alex. And then I will open source the code for the Q&A website, so those of you that are trying to hack it can be more accurate in your hacking attempts. Before I go, I'm going to I'll leave the drop game going. I will leave the patrons spinning. Thank you to all the patrons that support the Coding Garden, and thanks to all the patrons that have signed up today. Here they come. The patron view obfuscates the chat a little bit. That's nice use of the word obfuscate. Gold stars for Impy. Shout out to Cheyenne, Jacob, Conrad, all for the patron pledges today. Much appreciated. Someone make this go to Rick All right, I'm gonna take a 10-minute break. I thought this. Yeah, there it goes. It should loop forever. But I'll be back in 10 minutes. Be nice to each other, and I'll be back soon. All right. I'm gonna leave the screen the way it is now. So yeah. Just don't do anything weird, please. Please. Okay. Hello, friends. I'm back, and it looks like people tried to rickroll me while I was away. Not happening. Come on. I'll hide the patrons. But again, thank you to all the wonderful patrons for supporting me in the coding garden. Okay. Let's catch up. Then we'll answer this question. I'm only going to stream for, let's say, 25 more minutes because got things to do. But we are going to answer these questions. We're definitely going to answer these two. I've been eaten by the oblivion. Time to do something weird. People are, are you trying to, like, use the project I linked to avoid the curl? What did Sergi link? Oh. Curling is fine. I'm okay with curling. If user agent doesn't equal the real Chrome one, return legit page, else return rickroll. Pretty much, yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you, Aloop. We need a secret chat. Everyone's putting their chat in comments. That's funny. You might have tried to have a link display. Yeah, I did that. Hey, everybody. Bruh, you're gonna overtake Bezos at this rate? What? Yeah, I'm not gonna look at the hidden messages. All right, let's answer this question that came from Alex Ventura. Alex, if you're watching that right now, great. But if not, hopefully you can find this answer in a VOD. But let's see what you have to say. So Alex says, I'm from Mexico. I recently got an offer to relocate to Utah, but I thought it was a low offer, so I did not accept it. I know it depends on so many things like technologies, which state you're moving in the US, etc. But do you have any suggestion of a decent offer for a mid to senior developer in Utah? I have no idea. So like, if it's the Denver area, then probably greater than $100,000 a year, at least. And you are saying like mid to senior. Um, it's really hard to say. Like I just don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. But I would say at least $100,000 a year, but probably more is a decent offer. Like if they're offering you, I don't know, like 50 or 60K, and you have to relocate, and it's a mid to senior job, like that is not a good offer. I'll just say that right there. And if you're comfortable sharing like what the offer was, um, I'll tell you whether or not that was like an extreme lowball, like no good offer. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. Cool. Feedback on my website. Okay, if I get rickrolled, it doesn't count because I know it's about to happen. URL.zip. Cool. You have some nice like nighttime and daytime changing. You have a certificate from Let's Encrypt. That's great. You can put in a long URL and then shorten it. Let's see. Looks like you might be using yeah, totally custom CSS. I like that you have a ton of meta tags. That's good for SEO. And then let's take a look at the script. So there's our theme changer. It's making a fetch against API.php. I think you've made a URL shortener where every single URL results in a Rickroll. But let's see. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Okay, it actually works. But did you update to actually look for the what do you call it? The user agent? But regardless, I think this site is great. It's nice and simple. I like your color scheme. I like that you have the theme picker. You can click it. It goes here. It's great. I love it. Looks good. Great work. I'd be curious to know how much developers typically earn in Mexico too, though, because I've heard that SA and South America and California devs are often severely underpaid by U.S. California standards. Yeah, these are all great questions. This is a question from a while ago. What's the difference between Feathers and Feathers Plus? Feathers Plus just adds some extra stuff on top. It's actually separate from the core Feathers project, but it has extra things added to it, and like a new generator. Let's see. This question is so old that I'm going to archive it because it's from the 24th. So if you have this question again, ask it again. And it's also from an anonymous person, so I'm going to archive it. I'm just trying to get through all these questions. I'm not going to try now, Andrew. You had one chance. I did it. It was great. I'm done. Was that your plan? Like, show me a website that's legit and then change something so that it turns into a Rickroll? Anonymous people are people too. They are, but I do want to give preference to people that actually logged in and are voting. Yeah. Get someone saying, I want to build a CRUD app with Node and SQL. I don't want to deploy it in locally, meaning only local network. Oh, you do want to deploy it locally? Oh, yeah, I want to deploy it locally. Yeah, I'm gonna eat. So I'm gonna keep answering questions for about 18 minutes. But you're right, Gene. I'm gonna go get some food. Well, yes, but actually no. So this question is like you build an app on your local network and you want to access it locally. I mean, really, you could just do it by IP address. Also, if you're in control of the like the DNS server on your network, you could create local DNS entries that point domains to just IP addresses. So the overlay that you see happening here, the server for it is running on this laptop, but the computer over there is pointed at its IP address to actually load this overlay game in a browser source. And so that's working just via IP address, like local IP address, like a 10 dot address. So you could just use the address, or if you have access to the local DNS servers or local resolving, you can set up some local DNS entries that actually point to local IP addresses. Yeah. Yep, that's a great idea, Infi. Because I'm having a hard time. Like, if you've looked at any of the the seedling school projects, I've really only had a chance to do full reviews of the very first two submissions on stream, but both of them took me like hours to do because I was answering questions and looking at the chat. But I think it's a great idea to just I like hide the chat and do a dedicated session where I'm only doing reviews and I only show the chat every now and then. It's a great idea. I like it. How does DNS work? It's a great question. It's a topic for a future video. Let's see. Anything else? So many questions. I feel you. All right, I do want to do this one thing that Josh mentioned. So, this website that you're looking at is I built it and I am about to open source it. So let's look at the implementation first, because Josh was curious about how I did the grant implementation. So if you go to this website, qna.coding.garden, I actually have login implemented with Google, Twitch, and Discord. And basically what I'm doing is I have some custom auth providers that I wrote, and I link the accounts by email. So if you sign up for the same email that on Twitch and Discord, in my database, those two user accounts will actually be linked together. And so I basically just have a custom resolver for that. And free programming tutorials, this is a live website. So anytime somebody votes or anytime somebody asks a question, I don't have to refresh the page. They automatically get added. Here, and they're ordered by the number of votes and time submitted. So no need to refresh. No, we will not go to that URL. Cool. So this is the front end and the back end. Let's just close all this stuff. We can look at it. There's the client. It was written with Vue, and then the back end here is a Feathers app, but I didn't use the generator. One thing I did was I have this create service function that just takes in the name of the service you want, your options for a Mongoose schema, and any custom hooks that you want to add in. And what this allows me to do is very, very easily create services. So for my questions service, I literally say create service called questions. This is the Mongoose schema that it's going to use for all the questions in the database. I have the thing set up to automatically validate on creation and update. And then by default, no one is allowed to update a question, patch a question, or delete a question. So that's my backend security rules, are that users are only allowed to create questions. You can't update them. You can't change them in any way. If you're using the Feathers generator, by default, it opens up all of the CRUD endpoints. So it does that. So I have these custom hooks there. And then I do have some overrides for various things based on the fact that I'm an administrator. So hooks.notallowed is a custom hook that I wrote that if we look at it, if there is no provider, then that means it's an internal call to that endpoint, meaning I don't need to do the restriction. And so we just allow it. And then I have one admin ID that's just set as an environment variable, which is my Google ID for the user that I'm logged in as. And if the current logged in user has that admin ID, they are allowed to perform the action. Otherwise, everyone else is unauthorized. The other thing is I have a hook that sets the user ID based on the logged in user. If there's no logged in user, I set it as anonymous, because you'll notice that anonymous users can ask questions, but they can't vote. And then I also have a middleware for voting that only allows logged in users to vote. So if an anonymous user tries to vote by looking at the WebSocket requests, they wouldn't be able to, because this backend middleware protects it. And then also I protect against duplicate votes, so you can only vote for a question once. Yeah, so there's that. And then the thing that might interest you is the users table. So this has to do with login and all those multiple services. So one thing I'm doing is I have a hook to protect the email. So if somehow you're able to list all of the users in my system, you're not going to see their email. You're only going to see their name, their picture, and any of the providers that they've logged in with, like YouTube, Twitch, or Discord. And so at the top level, I have the user's name, picture, and email. Active provider is the last thing that you logged in with. So like I mentioned, these providers get linked by email. So if you log in with your Twitch account and that has a certain email associated with it, and then you log in with Discord and it has the same email, then it's actually going to link those accounts together. And I'll show you how I did that in the auth strategy. But if you log in first with Twitch and then you log in with Discord, the active provider changes to Discord. So active provider is the last thing that you logged in with, and that's the picture and the name that I'm going to show. But then under providers, we can store all of the other providers that had the same email when they were logging in. Let's take a quick stretch. So there's that. Is Feathers implementing the RabbitMQ architecture philosophy of services? I'm not familiar with that. Feathers is service oriented, and that everything is based off of services. Like this code right here, like I created this function create service, but under the hood, it's really basically registering the service and setting up the Mongoose model. But basically, now that I've created this service, I now have a RESTful endpoint for users where I can create users, update users, delete users, find users, get users, all of that just from this amount of code here. Easy enough. And then I have those extra protections in place that prevent people from doing things. So the other thing is on the user service, you are not allowed to do anything. So the only thing that can create new users is through a valid OAuth flow. So by blocking these from happening, users can't just make a post request to /users to create a new user. You have to go through the OAuth flow. So that's how I'm protecting that. And then in these after hooks, I'm removing the emails as well. Votes are very similar. Like they have, when you're voting, I make sure that if you're anonymous, you're not allowed to vote. I check to make sure that you haven't voted before. And the schema for voting is very simple. It just has a user ID and then the question that they're voting for. Cool. And then a hook like set user ID automatically sets the user ID to be the logged in user. So if a client tried to fake their user ID, this backend route would change it to their actual user ID anyways. Okay, now let's get on to auth. It's the thing that you all care about. And so we can see in here, I have a Google strategy, a Twitch strategy, and a Discord strategy. Each one of these I've implemented separately. Specifically, the Twitch strategy, I had to add profile getting set it manually because the grant profile package was broken for Twitch at the time. They since saw my pull request, updated it in a different way, but then closed my pull request. So grant profile is now updated, but I'll show you what's really cool about the way Feathers implements auth because I was able to just override that with my own request to get a user profile. So I have these 3 strategies. I register them all here. Let's take a look at the Google strategy. So I created a multi-OAuth strategy, which is my own base class, which extends the OAuth strategy that comes from Feathers. So actually, let's take a look at that first. Because this is where kind of the magic happens. So basically, when you create an instance, you create or you set the provider. So the provider is something like Google or Twitch or Discord. And then one of the key things with the Feathers OAuth strategy is the get entity query. So this by default is what Feathers uses to determine if an OAuth user has logged in before. So because I have this set as profile.email, when you log in with any one of those services like Twitch or Discord or Google, before it tries to create a new user in the database, this is basically telling Feathers to find a user with this email, and that's the user that we're going to use for this current OAuth flow. And then create entity I had to override as well so that we could do the custom insertion where like you're setting the providers. Because if you think back to the user strategy, we have this nested property called providers where based on what you're logging in with, the providers get set internally. And so this base class does all of that for us. So first thing we do is we get the entity data for the profile that you're logging in with. See you later, Ed. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the follow, LC Pablo. Welcome. Yeah, it took me probably like roughly a day of work to get it all up and going, but it works now. And I'm probably going to use this code base as the basis for the rest of Coding Garden stuffs. So right now, my chat manager is a completely and totally separate app that's running locally. Eventually, I want to be able to show live chat here, and I want people to be able to upvote and downvote chats that are happening live. And also, people could mark chats as spam, and they automatically get hidden, and different things like that. But I want to use this one backend as the consistent place for it. So let's keep on talking about it. So create entity will grab the name, picture, and email from the login that's happening, whether it's from Twitch, Discord, or Google. It then sets the active provider as well. And then when it inserts it into the database, it needs to update that provider at that given key. So in the user schema, you saw that providers had YouTube, Twitch, Discord. So when you log in with Discord, this code right here sets that provider on that object and then inserts it into the database. Update entity is very similar. I probably should just refactor this to use a method. But update entity is if a user is logging in and they already exist in the system. Or let's say they logged in with Discord. And actually what would happen is when we go to create entity, it would... No, so let's say you log in with Twitch. And then you log in with Discord, which has the same email. That's actually going to call update entity because the get entity query returned the user with the same email. Yeah, so there's that. And so update entity does a very similar thing. It sets the active provider, the name of the picture, and then puts that provider in the provider's object. So basically every user in the system, we're storing their name, email, and picture, and then what service they logged in with. And if they logged in with multiple services, but they used the same email, those are all linked together. So that's how all of that's working. And then we can see how an individual strategy implements the multi-OAuth strategy. So for instance, if we look at Google, it's actually very simple. What you do in get entity data is you return an object with all of the properties that we need in the database. So for Google, it's very simple because by default, all of the data we get back in the profile already has their email, their picture, their name, and their ID. So that's good to go there. If we look at Discord, I believe it's also fairly simple. Yeah. So Discord, the default grant provider gets the right profile. Everything's good to go. The only thing is they don't provide the picture, but they do provide profile.avatar, which is like a unique key, and their ID is a unique key. And basically, I had to build the avatar URL to get Discord users' images. Let's see, are there any Discord users on here? There might have been earlier, but basically, a Discord user will have the Discord icon next to their name. And then, again, this returns very similar data that we saw in the Google strategy. Great. And then the one that's a little bit trickier is the Twitch strategy, because like I mentioned before, get profile was broken in the grant profile package, so I had to implement my own here. And so again, get entity data just needs to return an object with all those properties that we need, similar to all the other OAuth flows, but Feathers allows you to override get profile. And so basically, we have access to the access token that was created during the OAuth flow so that we can make a request to the Twitch API to get that user's info. And then the profile we get back from that is the one that we actually use. So this overrides the underlying grant profile package, which actually requests the profile from a given service. So this overrides it. And we're able to use that here. So I didn't have to wait for my pull request to be merged on the grant profile package. I was just able to override it here, and everything works wonderfully. So that said, this is really all it takes. Like the trickiest thing here is updating the create entity and update entity to work with multiple providers. But for the most part, Feathers and Grant just work very, very easily. So like you can see if I wasn't doing this multi-OAuth thing, it actually would be very easy to just set up Discord login for my app. I would basically just need to return what I want in my database, and I would extend OAuth strategy instead of my custom multi-OAuth strategy, and it'd be good to go. But Feathers hides the rest of the implementation details. So yeah. Yep. That's pretty nice. And the fact that you can do that. And if you look at the Feathers docs, all of those methods in a custom authentication provider are overridable. So if you look at API and then authentication, OAuth, yeah, it's actually super interesting because like Grant kind of just works by default. I guess the other thing that I'll show is in the configuration, I do need to specify for all of the services, like how they work with Grant. And so if you look at the OAuth key, basically each one of these map directly to the options that you would pass into the Grant package. So here, client ID and secret, they're coming from my environment variables. Twitch client ID, Twitch client secret are coming from my environment variables, similar to Discord. And then I had to specify the scopes to make sure that I got the user's email in the response, which is what I needed. But really, the way Grant works is you would just pass it this, and everything else just seems to work, which is pretty cool. But yeah, if we look at the service, yeah, these are all, I believe, the methods we can override. No. Here it is. So you can override get entity query, get entity data, get profile, get redirect, get current entity. So Feathers allows you to override the majority of the things that are happening in the OAuth flow. So if you need to change anything, you can. It did take a little bit of debugging. I couldn't figure out what I needed just from reading the docs. I actually had to do a little bit of source diving to figure out like which methods I needed to override. But it worked out, and then it's pretty nice. So all this stuff is locked down pretty good. I've got my services here. I've got my auth. There's some like reusable hooks. There's also this auth package. I can't click it. What are you trying to do, Katoli? Like what is this? Is that an auth package? It's sending me to Twitter? What? What? Oh, do you just mean like logging in with Twitter? I don't know. I'm out of time, but I'll push this up to GitHub really quick. You all can dissect the code. If you discover any sort of security vulnerabilities or anything like that, please open an issue on the app itself. I mean, the most like what do you call it? Secure data that I'm storing in the database is user's email. I'm not storing access tokens or anything else like that, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, let's do it. Let's put all the code on GitHub. I'm pretty sure I have all my environment variables set up to be ignored and such. Oh yeah, and then there's the client, which is the view application. I'm not gonna deep dive into that because I am gonna go now. But that's the app. All right, let's make this a Git repo. I think the client. No, the client's not a Git repo. Cool. You will know about the issue after we exploit it. Responsible disclosure, please. Please. It's pretty locked down, though. You can't really do much with it besides, like, denial of service it. So, yeah. Did I lose it? There it is. Cool. Ignoring that, I'm gonna hide my screen real quick and create a sample. Whoa, whoa, that's too much, CJ. How about this one? No, not that. How about there we go. Let me create a sample ANV. So you know how to set up the backend. There's quite a bit of stuffs. So there's an admin ID, there's a Discord client ID, there's a Discord client secret, there's a Twitch client ID, a Twitch client secret, there's a Google client ID, a Google client secret. You set your JWT secret, which is what is used to sign the JSON Web Tokens. Good night, Aloob. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Let's make sure I don't have anything weird. Oh, why is there a DS store in there? Come on. I'm pretty sure I don't have... let me just double check. I don't want to push anything up that has potentially secret keys or tokens in it. Do I get on some sort of perpetual leaderboard for my drop score? I need to implement it, Bob. Because I have all of the past high scores in a database. I'm just not doing anything with it. You need to develop an interpreter for a new language. Really easy stuff. Oh, and Mr. Moonslam says, I love your sticker collection. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all good there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything was mainly locked down on the back end because I had to deploy it anyways. So there's that. Cool. Yeah, it's ready to go. If you find any weird info in this Git repo, please let me know. Again, responsible disclosure. Cool. It's on GitHub. Please don't hack me. Or if you do, let me know that you did so I can fix it. Irresponsible disclosure. Come on, Candy Cane. You too, Abdelhamid. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Ashok. Check it first and push it later. I for sure didn't push any secret keys. There might be something weird on the front end, but that's about it. Thank you, Glooscap. Thanks for tuning in. Created an int code computer in int code? No, but that's pretty good. So int code computer is referencing the advent of code thing. Wow. Hey, Francisco. I'm actually heading out. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Before I go, I do want to thank all of my patrons for supporting me. And here they are. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Coding Garden Stream Tracker? What's up with these URLs? This is like a similar URL that Katoli sent. I don't know. But yeah, thanks to all these wonderful, wonderful patrons. Coding Garden is brought to you by viewers like you. Here they are. What am I going to eat? I might eat leftovers. I have some like leftover fried rice and some leftover pad thai. Yeah, we're not to the, and I think Cheyenne, are you the same Cheyenne that's a patron? Thank you so much if you are. Also, thank you if you're not. Thanks for watching. Yeah, here are the latest patrons. Cheyenne, Jacob, and Conrad, all our latest patrons. Much appreciated. And I guess we'll raid someone. Let's see who is streaming on Twitch. And if you're watching on YouTube, head over to Twitch, and we're going to do a good old-fashioned stream raid. All right, if I get rickrolled, it's worth it, right? You know what I think is going to happen? I think when you click shorten, that's when you get rickrolled. That's my guess. Or is it that every... Rate someone with 0 viewers? Okay, let's do it. Shorten. Thank you, Cheyenne. Much appreciated. Is it looking at my user agent string? Let's see. No. What did you even change, Andrew? It looks cool. I might have it cached. Oh, / coding garden? Is this a rickroll? If I get rickrolled, it doesn't count. See? Doesn't count. Okay, yeah. There's quite a few people with like 2 viewers. How do you even get 0 viewers? Because you usually have to have the creator dashboard open anyways. Let's filter by web development. I was supposed to check with curl. Let's just see what we get back though. Yeah, because it says moved permanently. The document moved here. I see. So you're detecting where the request is coming from and changing the response based on that. 3D internet, like WordPress for games. Creating a Zelda-like action adventure game? I gotta go. I can't check these things. I gotta go. CodeRes is using Gatsby. Let's see what they're working on.
And so apparently someone else had this issue way back in like February. Oh, nothing to feel guilty for. What he's struggling with. I'll show you what I'm struggling with, everybody. So you can see my.
Okay, cool. We're gonna raid CodeRes. If you're on YouTube, head over to Twitch, twitch.tv/codinggarden. And now, oh, here's our raid message. If you do that, and you do that, and you do that, anybody can do it. Everyone try the raid message. We're just practicing before the raid actually happens. Copy and paste that message. Put it in the chat. HTTPS? What? Oh, that's what the redirect was for. I see. There we go. Okay. Actually, let me make sure I spelled that right. CodeRes. Cool. Alrighty, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.